Welcome. My name is Thomas Ledford, aka Taxman88, and this is Lesson 4, Scenario 3 of Drake software, where you're learning how to prepare individual income taxes by learning how to use Drake software in the process. But the most effective way to learn how to do Drake, learn how to do basic tax preparation along with using Drake is having the ability to use prior video trainings to help you with current video trainings, along with any notes you may have taken along the way of your training is going to be helpful. And if you can take the time to actually have the physical forms in front of you and actually do at least 20 of them by hand to get a true understanding of what you're doing will definitely help. And so when it comes to Drake, you want to be able to go to view mode once you finish to see what forms generated and write those down on each client that you've done. And hopefully you'll be able to see a pattern of what you're doing when it comes to preparing these returns using the software. Because the next one right here will be Jill Barnes. Open that up. Go to page 1. Page 1 is the 1040 personal information page, address, filing status. That's equivalent to that when it comes to answering these questions as far as foreign accounts and virtual currency. You ask the clients these series of questions, they're going to give you a response, and you simply notate the response with a yes or no, and then you come out of that. Then you go to dependents if you have any dependents. Put in dependents information right here. We say C, child tax credit. Any dependent 16 and under will qualify for child tax credit, so you have C here. If you had a dependent that was 19, then you would select other dependent credit. So that's how that works when it comes to child tax credit versus other dependent credit based on age. So for a child 16 and under, child tax credit, if you have one 17, 18, 19 who qualified as dependent on their parents' return, they would fall under dependent credit. So that's how they work. So change that back to C. Answer yes, no, yes, 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 yes. Make the selection here as far as residency qualifications. And like I said again, off this list of things, the most common things people get a hold of are school records. That's going to show the relationship between the address of them and the child, the lease, if they're a leaseholder, and medical records. And if you don't have anything, you want to have a notation in this box here explaining that you asked the client that if they was audited, could they provide necessary documentation to prove the residency test, and they told you yes. And that's how that works. Then we come out of here, and then we go to income. We had retirement. So retirement income and these forms might not necessarily look the same as the one you have in your hand. So you got to learn how to maneuver through how to fill it out. So you attach this to whoever it is, either taxpayer or spouse. Taxpayer is always the main person that's on is the first person on return. Spouse is generally a married couple, so whoever's first on return is the taxpayer. The second person is considered the spouse. And so you put this information in, you put the dollar amounts in, you put the federal amount in, you put the distribution code section in, and basically that's how you fill out this 299 retirement income. And so generally you'll have two people who are going to come in the tax season with this form. You're going to have retired people who's 65 or older who have retirement money that they actually receiving, and you're going to have people who've got a 401k that they've withdrawn money from, and now they have to report that on their tax return for the following season. So we come out of that. Then we go over here. Like I say, EF stands for e-file ready. And these are the series pages. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all these pages over and over again. It's your job as a business owner and as an entrepreneur to be creative and resourceful with your learning when it comes to having access to software and access to the resources that I've given you to be able to learn how to prepare basic income taxes, as well as learning how to maneuver around Drake sufficiently enough to be able to do client returns in a reasonable amount of time. 20 minutes is the average you should be able to do a return in. Some will be quicker than that, especially if they're already in the system, especially if they're a return client, and all you're doing is just putting in new information as far as money. If they lived at the same address, the telephone number hadn't changed, and all you're doing is just updating the W-2 with new money, and you come here to fill out these signature forms and things of that nature, and making some notes here if they qualify for income credit, then like I said, you shouldn't have no issues. And so that's how we maneuver through Drake. Then we go to view mode. And while we're waiting for view mode to pop up, view mode shows everything that's generated based off the data you put in the software. Now these notes are FYI notes telling you, giving you some information. They don't stop you from processing return, they just give you some information. Messages are mandatory that you clear up in order to process the return. That's the difference between a message and a note. This here says no Social Security benefits were entered. Well, these particular clients didn't receive Social Security benefits because they worked for the city. And when you work for the city, generally you don't get both. Unless you worked, especially if you worked a city job your whole life. The only people who may receive both are people who worked two different types of incomes for long periods of time who qualifies for both. And so that's how that generally works. Then it says inconsistent data, 9ABC. And when you see this here, it's because the way the form was filled out. So we look at the 8867 from this mode, and we go review our responses. And we go to 9A, B, and C. And the reason this note come up is because this particular client, they don't receive earned income credit. So when they don't receive earned income credit, then these questions don't apply. So if we go back here to 8867, and we go here, and see the note for that left, because when they don't qualify for earned income credit, then those questions don't really apply to the fact they have dependents on them, and so you don't have to answer those. So we come out of it, and so what you want to be able to do for each scenario is put in the data. Once you've finished, come here, write down the forms that generated, and kind of see the pattern of what you're doing, so you can learn that every time I do taxpayers with children who make under a certain dollar amount, they definitely gonna receive earned income tax credit. They definitely receive an additional tax credit. They definitely qualify for child tax credit based on the age of the dependents. And these are things you want to be able to be aware of every time you do these scenarios. And so after you've done 6 of them, you want to be able to have notes on them. You want to be able to be in view mode and written down the forms that generated and be able to see a pattern of how all 6 different types of returns, what they have in common. And that's going to help you learn as well. And definitely going through the publications and taking notes on them and getting with me doing our 2 weeks of live training to cover stuff you're definitely not familiar with. And so I'll see you in the next video.